So I like to use my little Mini when I'm doing consultancy jobs and water quality tests and stuff. I've just got a local one today, and then I'm up in Manchester on Monday. Yeah, it's good. It's just gonna drive around in a truck all year and pretty much live in the bloody thing. It's nice just to get in a little car and have a bit of fun, as much as you can today in these days. Yeah, so now's the time of year really, testing water quality. Is in the winter, it's you know, the parameters, it's not irrelevant, but it's something you'd have to be really badly wrong for you to notice, because nothing really goes on in the winter, which is why we're always doing our survey work then. It's cold, so dissolved oxygen's high anyway, 9 times out of 10 obviously. If you've got an issue, that's to be quite a bad issue for you to lose fish in my experience in the winter, because they're not really doing much, they're not feeding much, they're certainly not thinking about spawning, they're tough, not just carp but all species. So, but now this time of year it's going to be mega hot, hottest weekend of the year this weekend. So yeah, any fishery who hasn't got a dissolved oxygen meter and hasn't got their own little kits for testing water quality, why not? There's no excuse for it. You might have an aerator but not a dissolved oxygen meter, which again, I think, why? It's just ridiculous. But yeah, now's the time to be, if you're not doing it, you know, learn. If you're an old club, and you know, just get someone in who can do it for you. It's one of the young members of the club, but it's really important because you'll notice things. It's far too late if you just say, when they're gasping on the top, you know, it's too late. It's all too late because it's stress, and if they're already that stressed, then the knock-on effect can be really, really bad later on, and it might not, you know, you might not see any mortality or any issues for a few months or a few weeks, and that might actually not mean they're going to die. It might mean you just pick up secondary infection, bacterial infection, all sorts of bits and pieces. So if you're not doing any sort of water quality testing, then you really should be. It doesn't matter what sort of context it's in, but as a club or a fishery, get your own kit, or you can pay someone like me to come and do it. But it's not difficult. There's enough videos of us doing all this stuff online. Ben's got a good one of how to maintain and clean your OxyGuard and things like that, and I've done loads and loads. There's loads on our social media about what we use and how we do it and why and what to look for and all this sort of stuff. So just really, really important. So yeah, in the boot now I've just got my OxyGuard and I've got a little NT Labs kit, which I just replace every year and get a new one, which does all the other parameters. Plus I've got a little digital pH kit, but oxygen's really the main one to focus on unless there's a problem, but it takes half an hour to do everything. And my waders and some disinfectant spray, and I'll carry that around with me all the time. And yeah, but now's the time, you know, when it's hot, it is a good time to go out to places and see what's going on, because quite often it's the most delicate time of year, especially after spawning. A lot of places have spawned already, some haven't, but yeah, like I say, it's a very, very delicate time of year, and if you get through this time of year and you haven't had any problems, then that's great. We've had a number of phone calls where people are losing very, very small fish, very, very small silvers, which isn't uncommon, especially this time of year. A number of reasons that happens, but they are delicate. You know, small silverfish are delicate in the summer. They hate the warm weather. Well, they don't hate it as such, but you know what I mean, they're not very good in the warm weather, which is why if you start catching decent silvers and stick them in keep nets, that's why there's less and less decent silver fish in matches. You know, I'm talking big roach and big bream, because they don't like it, and they just don't like it at all in the summer. The winter's fine. But yeah, it's all these things worth considering. If you've got problems with your fishery, now's the time to be not necessarily, certainly not netting and doing lots of work. We do groundworks and planting and non-invasive stuff that's not going to affect anything, but we wouldn't, unless we absolutely had to, we wouldn't really survey this time. It's just too hot. Not ideal really, in my opinion, but you can do, but you got to take each job as it comes. And we have done stuff in August. Certainly when we did the Val de la Mar Reservoir in Jersey, we had to remove all the fish out of that reservoir, and it was hugely warm month, but we had to do that. It was a dam repair, and the fish were way down on the priorities list for the island. But yeah, now's the time to be getting in, sussing out what's going on. If you've got problems, sensibly try and sort them out, identify what they are, ready, so that you know what to do. And if you do that every year, if you get in the winter and you look at all your issues and look at, you know, what weed growth you get during the summer, what growth of your fish, all these different things, if you suss all that out in the winter, and plan accordingly, it saves you so much hassle and grief. So you're not then getting to this time of year and bringing people like me up and going, oh, my fish are dying. It's like, well, what did you do in the winter to plan for this? You know, what have you got? What equipment have you got? And quite often they've got an aerator because they've lost fish before, but they don't understand why and when to use it and why it's not good just to have it on all the time. I mean, all these little things, you know, when you get on site, it's easy then because you can see what's going on, pick out problems, discuss it with the owner or the fishery manager or bailiff or whoever's involved, and say, look, you know, it's no good just winging it. You've got a responsibility for these fish and the fishery. So, and it saves you money at the end of the day. That's what it's all about. It's about saving your stocks, saving the money, and improving the place, not just doing things that, you know, don't really need your attention, because all of this stuff really does, especially when it's this hot.